Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Hump Day edition of Today in Sports Betting. And who better to join us than the guy that joins us every day? It's not going to be a shock for you regular viewers, but you know him, you love him. He's the host with the most, all the way from the stormy center of Long Island, New York. It is Scott Reichel. Scott, happy Wednesday. How are you, bud?
Doing well. This is take two because we're about, 5 minutes into take one, and then my power went out because there's a massive storm going on outside. Power came back on, and hopefully it cooperates for the next 20, 30 minutes. So we'll see what happens there.
It was funny. I think I jinxed you because I told you about some overnight storms that we had with some hail and stuff. And then like 30 seconds later, your power went out. So.
Yep. But I was told it's supposed to come on in about 3 hours, and it came on in 5 minutes. So, we'll see how sturdy that is. But it's going to be nice taking a brief break for a day from baseball to talk about some golf, as we have the Rocket Mortgage Classic coming up tomorrow. So we're going to talk about
that. Scott, what do you think the odds are that golf is the only sport that actually plays through the rest of the year?
Well, that's kind of a trick question because the NASCAR season ends before the end of the year.
Well, okay. I forget about NASCAR. Okay, so NASCAR and golf. In other words, I don't know.
MMA has been doing pretty well.
Okay, you're right. I'm just talking about the big three. So
yeah, big three. You mentioned golf. I don't know where in the big three golf fits in, but
no. It's just some grim news from the football and
no, I know what you mean. I'm just saying I'm trying to think of what the new top three is going to be if it doesn't work out with the other sports.
I think you hit it. I think it's NASCAR, golf, and UFC.
And Korean baseball is the honorable mention at 4.
Yeah, Korean baseball hits the superfecta. So
okay,
all right, bud. Let's rock and roll before your power goes out again. Good gravy. So we're taking a look this week. The PGA stops in lovely Detroit to play the Rocket Mortgage Classic, right? The Classic?
Yes, it's the Classic, even though this is only the second year it's happened.
Yeah, we were making fun of it. It was it's so much of a classic. It was an Insta-Classic, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So good they decided to play it again.
I mean, it was so good the first time around that the winner last year won by about 6 shots. So, it was really a nail-biter from start to finish.
Yeah, that wasn't. And are we backing him again this year? I know you are. You all over him for this season? It's Nate Lashley, by the way.
I'm not backing him, but good for him for shooting 25 under last year, which is one of the stupidest scores I've ever seen. But you have a couple of tournaments every now and then during the year where the leader is at 26 under, 27 under. I mean, usually in Hawaii or some of these very nice vacation tournament places, but. First year at the tournament, and second place had 19 under, and first place had 25 under. And I believe Lashley was 250 to 1 to win last year, and then he just won wire to wire. He just destroyed everybody.
Yeah,
he's been awful. Yeah, he's been awful this year, but he won wire to wire last year, and he's back in it. So I'm not personally on him this year because the field is going to be a lot harder than it was last year.
Right.
But I can definitely understand why people would throw a sprinkle on him, considering the fact, kind of like your Pan play a couple weeks ago.
I was just going to say, he's the CT Pan of this week. The guy that won last year and is 150 to 1 this year. So.
Yeah, Pan wasn't even bad for you. Did he win the tournament? No, but I believe he was still like 8 under. Like, it wasn't like, he was 11 shots off the winner, but he wasn't bad.
I want to say he was like top 40 maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Top 50. Yeah, he acquitted himself okay.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about Lashley's round last year, his tournament last year rather, is he only shot 2 under on Sunday, so he was 23 under the first 3 days. That's ridiculous, right?
It is. Well, I mean, even the course people have decided that was too ridiculous. They ended up announcing they were going to make this tournament a little bit harder.
Did they Lashley proof it?
Did what?
Did they Lashley proof the course?
We're going to find out because he's back in the field, so we're going to have to wait and find out about that. But from what I know is that they ended up making the roughs a little bit thicker, and I believe they made them a little bit longer. So I think the issue is that the roughs were only in certain areas, and it was just endless green ahead, and they tried to change that. I think it's going to change much. I still think the winner is going to be somewhere around the previous week's 19 under, 20 under, something like that. Yeah. But I think 25 is a bit excessive.
I have to say, I feel bad that you and I have done shows this long and you didn't take the opportunity right there to say they made the roughs rougher.
You know, you had me at the Lashley joke, so I thought I would just let you have that one, and I was just going to move on.
Just pitching those softballs in there. All right, but let's start off. You know what? You're the one that's gone under consternation today. You're sweating up there in Long Island. I'll let you kick it off. What do you got for us to start the show, buddy?
So normally, we're going to start with the outrights as we normally do. I'm going to look towards two relative favorites here, but I'm not going to be taking the big favorite in Bryson DeChambeau. Simply put, there's no value on the line you're getting. I mean, he's roughly at 6-1 or 6.5-1.
Yeah.
Which means he has to win the golf tournament, like 14% of the time?
Yeah.
That's insane. Unless you're prime Tiger, I can't assume that you're going to win a golf tournament 14% of the time.
Right.
I can't do it. DeChambeau, even though he's been phenomenal lately, which he hasn't been able to actually win the tournaments. He's been great to finish top 10 or even top 5 recently, but he hasn't won a golf tournament on tour since 2018. So I don't know how he's supposed to be anything lower than plus, I'd say, 900. I know the field isn't that great, and I'm aware of that. If you haven't won a golf tournament in over a year, you shouldn't be a plus 650. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's going to take me to one of the other favorites on this course who actually has won lately, and that's going to be Webb Simpson. And I'm going to be taking him at 13-1 on Fox Bet. I'm actually looking right now. It's currently down to 12-1, but I got him at 13-1 earlier this week, and that's going to be the line I'm going to be using. Simply put, Webb Simpson tends to do. He's just a good player. I mean, there's no other way around it. I know DeChambeau is as well. Simpson won the last tournament that he was in. He tends to do really well on Donald Ross courses. Donald Ross is the architect for this course, along with other courses on tour. And it is worth mentioning that Webb Simpson did win the Wyndham Championship a couple of years ago, and he named his daughter after the championship. Wyndham Championship was held on a Donald Ross course. So he named his daughter after a course that's made by the same architect as this course. So I think he does pretty well when it comes to Donald Ross courses. And it is worth mentioning that there are 4 par 5s here, which are a lot more per round than normal, as usually you have roughly 3 or 2. There are 4 par 5s here, and Simpson has the second best par 5 scoring average on tour this season. So all things considered, he tends to putt really well on Donald Ross courses. He's very good on par 5s, and he won the last tournament he was in. So for that reason, I feel a little bit more confident taking Webb Simpson to win this tournament at 13-1.
All right, very good. Hopefully he doesn't have a pregnant wife right now, because if he wins this one, he's going to have to name his kid Detroit Golf Club.
Or Rocket. Or Mortgage.
I thought about Rocket Mortgage. Yeah, it's
not great. But I figured if you're naming your daughter after a tournament that was created by the same architect of this course, you probably should do decently here. That's kind of a thought process here, because most of the creators of golf courses, even though there are some differences with bunker placement and fairways, etc., most of the courses are relatively the same in terms of the type of grass they're going to use, as well as just the nature of the greens themselves. Right. So for that reason, I think Simpson's skill set should translate well here. Plus, if you saw him when he won his last golf tournament, he's one of the hottest putters on tour. And I think that if he just keeps it anywhere near the green, when you have people shooting 20 under, I think Simpson can easily go off for another 6 birdies in a day, so to speak. So I think he's capable of putting together a very solid performance.
Solid. Yeah, he's certainly one of the guys playing the best golf on tour right now, and I think that's a solid play. You know, and I'm going to back another guy that's been playing pretty good golf here lately. He kind of fell apart on the weekend last week, and that is Sungjae M.
I like him as a golfer. He's a good golfer.
Yeah, I'm catching him at 22-1, and I like him a lot. He's been, like I said, he's been good since he's come back. He's what is he, third or fourth in FedEx points. Like I said, he had a nice Thursday, Friday last week. Kind of fell apart. He finished 10th at the Charles Schwab Challenge. He did miss the cut there at the Links in South Carolina, but I'm going to forgive him. That's kind of a different course. I like him to be able to navigate his way around this one. I think it shapes up well for his game. I'm going to take Sanjay M at 22 to 1.
Well, on Fox Bet, I see 25 to 1. So you can get an extra.
I'll take it, man. That's 12.
No, I like him as a player. I actually thought about giving him out, but in reality, I was just too high on the two favorites that I do like, and I had a long shot there, and I don't consider 25 to 1 in golf being a relatively big long shot, so I decided to skip him. But I actually had a personal prop on Im over Morikawa last week, and that cashed easily as Im made the cut, and Morikawa did not. So that was an easy winner there. Im's a very good golfer. No way around it. He's a youngster. Definitely should be a contender in, I'd say, the next decade. I mean, he's just a really good golfer. So, yeah, I don't have any issues with that play at all.
All right, who you got for your second guy?
My second play is going to be another one of the favorites here, not named DeChambeau, and it's going to be on Tyrrell Hatton, and that line's available at 17 to 1 on FanDuel. Simply put, Hatton is just a phenomenal player, and he's only played in one tournament since the restart, finished third, and he was actually in first place after 3 days, so he was doing really well. He had a little bit of a hiccup on the back nine, which caused Webb Simpson to enter through the back door as he ended up birdieing 5 of his last 7 holes, and he ended up getting the win. But Tyrrell Hatton, finished third. He even won his last tournament before COVID, so he's been playing really well lately. And I found out this statistic, which kind of blows my mind, if I'm being honest. So total strokes gained is a statistic in golf that's been around since roughly 2004. And it basically just means in comparing yourself to the rest of the field, how many shots you gain on average in pretty much every capacity. So it's just an overall gauge of how well you're playing from top to bottom. Hatton's on pace for the fourth best season of all time.
So is that basically what you're shooting better than the average of the field?
Correct. So that's based on tee shots, on approach shots, on putts, on pretty much everything. The top 3 all time, this has been around since 2004, which I heard, I'd say 2 days ago. Since 2004, the top 3 seasons of all time are, needless to say, Tiger. Tiger is the top 3 seasons of all time. Hatton this year right now has the 4th best season of all time.
So the best season of anybody not named Tiger so far.
Correct. Since 2004. So based on that, I'm going to take Hatton because this guy is just clicking in every single capacity of his game. He's been phenomenal. He's well rested. And that's one thing you have to wonder. I'm not sure how much fatigue is going to play a factor. I know some of you at home might be saying, well, it's golf. You hit a ball and you move and then you pick it up. If you actually play a full round of golf, you know how tiring it is mentally and physically. And you have a couple people here who are playing for their 3rd straight weekend. I'm curious if you will see some regression or some fatigue just based on the recent mileage that you've had to go through when it comes to walking all 18 holes for 4 days. I know that you had a long layoff. Do you think that has any impact on some of these players?
Man, I'd like to think not. I'd like to think, guys that are in their mid-20s to late 30s.
I'd hope not, but you have to wonder if that does play a factor.
The mental part of it, I can certainly see that as, you talk about in baseball, there's high leverage situations with your pitchers. And a lot of times that comes into play in golf where, there's definitely more pressure on some shots than others. Yeah, it's possible, Scott, but I think, that's all these guys do is play golf. So even though the fact these courses are playing, around 7,000 yards, is that about right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So that's 21, you're talking roughly 4 miles of walking. Of course, that's just in a straight line. Obviously, you're walking further than that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know either. I just think it's worth mentioning.
It is. It's possible. And, I would probably, all things being equal, I'd probably rather take the guy that had skipped last week versus the guy that's playing his 4th straight.
Yeah. So for that reason, I like Hatton. He took last week off. He finished 3rd in his tournament before that. Simply put, I already mentioned the stats. He's just a phenomenal player. And I think that he is poised to put together a very solid number. The way that I'm viewing this tournament is I think the magic number is going to be 19 under, 20 under.
Yeah.
give or take, and you kind of have to ask yourself which guys you think have the ability on a relatively easy golf course. I know they're going to make it harder with the roughs, but if you don't hit it in the roughs, you should still be shooting roughly 20 under. And for that reason, I'm just going to take two guys who I know are capable of shooting 20 under, and that's Webb Simpson, who's a phenomenal putter, and Hatton, who's been fantastic in every aspect of his game. And I think that the longer roughs and the thicker roughs could be a problem for DeChambeau, who has had some issues when it comes to actually hitting fairways. I know that he's a phenomenal driver in terms of distance, and he is a big boy nowadays after he gained, I don't know how many pounds, but
25 allegedly.
Something like that. I think that's putting it lightly. He looks like he went up 2 weight classes. But either or, even though you could hit the ball 300 and something yards off the tee, if you don't hit it on the green, I think you're going to have some issues. And DeChambeau's been known to miss a fairway or two, and I think that could be a serious issue when it comes to this increased difficulty that the tournament's going to experience. So I'll take the two guys who I can trust a little bit more, and for that reason, I like Hatton here at 17-1.
All right, very good. I'm going to go with a guy that you played a couple weeks ago, Scott. I'm going to go back to Doc Redmond. Catching him currently at 40-1. This guy that did well here last year finished second, and we talked about the normal scores as Lashley shot 25 under. Redmond shot 19 under last year, and I think obviously he's proven that he's capable of getting there. He's been playing well since the return. I like Doc Redmond 40-1. I'm going to have relatively long shots in all these picks. Everything's 25 or more, by the way. So yeah, give me the good doctor at 40-1. Any thoughts on Doc?
Well, I know that from pretty much every single piece of just reading I did about the course and about some predictions that people have made, Redmond's been the hot name all week. It seems like everybody loves Redmond, and they think he's going to have a good weekend. It makes sense, because when Lashley goes 25 under, you forget about Redmond, who shot 19 under and came in second place last year. So
right.
He was on this tournament. I know the field was a lot weaker, but you finish 19 under at a golf course and you come back, you should have a pretty good weekend. Once again, I see 45-1 on Fox Bet with Redmond, so if you want to take him there, you can. I actually have a prop on Redmond, which I'll get to in a little bit. So I understand the move, solid player. And yeah, he's had some success on this course in the past, so I think it makes perfect sense, especially considering the fact that this has only been around for 1 year. A lot of golfers on this course aren't going to have much experience, and Redmond does, so that definitely should help him. I would expect him to definitely shoot in the double digits. It's just a matter of if he can shoot low enough to win the tournament. I'm a little bit skeptical of that, but I do think he should perform well. So I don't have any issues with that at 45-1.
Yeah, I think catching a good price there, I would expect that to be more in the 30-1 range. So
especially with how he's played lately. He's been very
that's what I'm saying. Right, yeah. So I think we're catching good value there. All right, who's your third, buddy?
So this is going to be my long shot. I'm treating this like NASCAR, 2 relative favorites and 1 long shot. It's going to be somebody who nobody really ever heard of before last week, but he was very solid last week. And it's going to be Will Gordon. And if you better shop your lines, because I see a lot of different lines available when it comes to Gordon. For example, I see 100-1 on DraftKings. FanDuel, I believe, had like 90-1, and Fox Bet has 125-1. So I'm going to be giving out 125-1 on Will Gordon. Simply put, he finished third last week. He was tied for third last week in total strokes gained. So he was just phenomenal top to bottom, very consistent in every single aspect of his game. And it is worth mentioning that even though he shot an extremely low score on, I believe it was Friday, to give himself the lead, and he struggled a bit on the following Saturday, he shot a 64 on Sunday. So he really rallied quite nicely when it comes to some of these younger guys. When you see in golf tournaments after a very hot start, you see them relatively fall off, which is what Gordon did on Saturday. You rally for a 64 on Sunday? I mean, that's a pretty good answer right there.
Yeah, normally you got the weekend faders, the guys that play Thursday and Friday. And then when moving day comes on Saturday, that collar gets a little tighter. Those shots get just a little bit more interesting, and a lot of times you see the veterans do much better than the relative newcomers like Gordon. So I like you, was very impressed with that 64 that he shot on Sunday. I think that's a solid pick. I've got him on mine. The best price I've got is 90. So yeah, catching him at 125 is definitely a good value there.
Well, I was talking about total strokes gained tied for third, just to put that into perspective. He gained at least 1 shot in every category. So in shots off the tee, shots on approach, putting, and shots from tee to green, he gained at least one shot compared to the rest of the field in every single category. So if you're that consistent from top to bottom from last week, you should be a lot lower than 125 to 1, especially on a golf course that seems to just reward most golfers in general based on the low scores. I think Gordon could easily go 17 under once again if he just looks anywhere near as sharp as he did last week. So 125 to 1, that looks like a gift based on where the odds should be. I would assume probably 80 to 1 if I had to take a guess.
Right.
So, yeah, 125 to 1. That's going to be my long shot of the tournament.
Ride the hot streak. All right, I'm going to finish it up with Kevin Na.
Okay, I like him too.
I've got Kevin Na at 33 to 1. He didn't play in this tournament last year, but he has been very, very good this year. He's got 7 top 10s in his 14 tournaments. This is a course that matches up well with his game. A guy that's not a gigantic hitter, but keeps it in the fairway. I like Kevin Na. I like his game with this course, and I think 33 to 1 is a pretty good price on him. Maybe even got something a little better than that. You got anything better than 33 on Kevin Na?
I see 35 to 1 on DraftKings.
I'll take that. Every little bit helps, buddy. And any thoughts on Kevin Na?
I like him too. He was also a hot name that I saw a lot in DFS videos, etc. So it seems like some people are in the community are pretty high on Na this weekend, especially after how he performed last week. He was phenomenal, finished in the top 10. He was very good.
I feel pretty good that I watched no DFS videos and still got 2 of the hot golfers that were mentioned. So
yeah. I can't say that I'm a big DFS video guy, but in all honesty, when it comes to golf, a lot of it's going to be unpredictable anyway. So you might as well try to familiarize yourself with it and try to hear about some trends, etc. Na's been a hot name. He's got some buzz going around. It makes sense. And for the number you're getting there at 35 to 1, I know he was roughly 40 or even 45 to 1 earlier in the week. So you have seen some money come in on Na. You definitely have taken a bit longer shots on average than mine, just based on the top 2 that I gave, because I gave out 2 of the 3 favorites in this tournament. But I definitely like your plays. I think that there's some value with those.
Cool. All right. Well, when you're betting golf, more than any other sport, if you're trying to hit outright winners, you really are searching for a needle in a haystack.
Just remember, based on averages, you're trying to win basically 1 out of 10, because every favorite that you take, and that's assuming you're taking favorites, because every favorite that you're going to get is somewhere in the 10 to 19 range.
And if they're not, you shouldn't be betting them. Correct.
That's why we're skipping DeChambeau. Do you have any thoughts on DeChambeau this week? I know you can't take it at that current number, but
I do. Any thoughts? Well, I've got him in a prop, Scott. And I was going to let you go first, but I'm going to go first. I'm going to take a look at day one matchup props, and I've got Bryson DeChambeau minus half shot, minus a half stroke over Matsuyama with I'm going to lay a little juice on that and minus 120. I like that. Matsuyama has been playing well, but he didn't play well last week, and I'm gonna take the hot guy. Like I said, I didn't like it. That sounds weird, but I didn't like him at 7 to 1. I didn't think there was enough value, but I will take a guy that's been playing some very, very good golf to open up the tournament strong. Give me Bryson DeChambeau minus a half stroke over Hideki Matsuyama minus 120. So yeah, I do have some thoughts on DeChambeau.
Yeah, smooth transition by the 2 of us. I had to ask because I'm sure a lot of people, even in DFS communities, are going to be all over DeChambeau because he's almost a lock to finish top 10 based on his recent results over the last couple of weeks. I know that there's no locks for top 10s in golf tournaments, but in terms of statistics and how he's been driving the ball and everything like that, in comparison to this field, which is a lot weaker than the previous couple of weeks, there's a reason why DeChambeau's plus 650. I just find it almost offensive to even consider taking him at that price. So for that reason, I can't. But if we're just talking solely about talent, I think he should be pretty likely to finish in the top 10, which is why it's actually a minus price in most sports books.
Yeah, just minus 130.
Yeah, I see minus 120 on FoxBet to finish top 10, which I'm tempted by, but in reality, I just can't take that. So for DeChambeau, I got no props. I won a prop with him last week on a matchup with him and Rory, but I'm just not going to touch it. But you did mention one player that I actually do have a prop on, and the line has moved since I ended up taking this personally earlier in the week, and it will be on Matsuyama, and I like him over Ricky Fowler, which I got at minus 125 on DraftKings. It's been bet up to minus 143, so I got a good number on that. Simply put, this is going to tie into my second prop as well. I'm pretty much just fading Ricky this entire weekend, and the main reason why he's been doing a lot of changes to his swing, and it's looked like a disaster at this point, or as the polite people say, a quote-unquote work in progress, as that's what he's been working on. He's been in 2 tournaments since the restart. He's missed both cuts. So he has been, even before the restart, he was very underwhelming this year. If you miss both cuts going into this tournament, and the cut line should be somewhere around -4, -5, I'm a little bit skeptical on Ricky this weekend. Matsuyama, I think his skill set translates a lot better to this course. Very consistent player, very solid player. Since the restart, he hasn't really done much either. I'm pretty sure Matsuyama's been in 1 tournament. He missed the cut, but he didn't play last week, and I believe he had the week off last week, so he should be well rested, and I think he should put together a pretty solid performance. Simply put, he's just been a lot more consistent than Ricky, and I just don't trust him. I don't think Ricky's going to make the cut, so that's going to take me to my second prop. But for that matchup, Matsuyama versus Fowler, I think if this was a normal situation, I think that I would lean to Fowler. But based on recent results, I think there's definitely a reason why this line has been bet up to minus 143. And I'm going to keep it at minus 125. I think that's a solid line. I think Matsuyama should make the cut. I think Fowler has a good chance of not making the cut. And for that reason, I think this could be a sweat-free winner for the weekend. So the first prop I'm going to have is Matsuyama over Fowler and minus 125 on DraftKings.
All right, I'm going to fade another good golfer that's having a terrible season, and that is Australia's Jason Day. I'm going to take Brendan Todd. I'm going to lay, again, a half stroke here and pick up a little value as we pick up Brendan Todd over Jason Day at plus 110. Jason Day's missed 2 cuts. He finished 46th last week. Brendan Todd was playing good early in the season. He did miss a couple cuts when they came back, but he finished 11th last week, looked much better.
Day finished 11th with 1 bad hole. He triple bogeyed 1 hole in the back 9, so he would have finished in the top 10. So
right, yeah, that's why I looked at Jason Day. Like I said, he has struggled this year all season long. He's 96th in FedEx points. I think we're catching good value again against a struggling golfer.
Yours is round 1, correct?
Yes, round 1, Thursday only.
Cool. Yeah, so my Matsuyama Fowler thing was for the entire tournament.
Okay, all right. So I like Brendan Todd minus half stroke over Jason Day plus 110. Scott, what else you got?
Well, for that plus 110, it's definitely a solid price to get there. My second prop, I alluded to it before, but I'm going to stick to it. It's going to be Fowler to miss the cut, and that's available at plus 200 on DraftKings. Simply put, he's getting a little bit too much name recognition, and I feel like the same thing's happening with Jason Day as well.
Exactly.
You just see the name, and you think, oh, this guy's won a couple tournaments. This guy was top 10 in the world, and then you realize, oh, wait a second, that was like 2 years ago. And anytime you're in the middle of working out some kinks on your swing and you've missed the last couple of cuts, I think it's a pretty slippery slope to expect you to do much in a course which should have a ton of low scores. Is it possible that Fowler does well and makes the cut? Of course, because Fowler still has talent. But with a revamped swing that's looked like a disaster over the last couple of weeks, I think this should be closer to plus 120. I think it's closer to pick him, honestly, for him to make the cut at this rate. So plus 200, I think if this was any other golfer and I told you that they were missing the cut the last couple of weeks and it wasn't named Ricky Fowler, you're probably looking at plus 120, plus 110. So plus 200, I'm going to take that to the bank.
I agreed. That's a play that I believe I'll be making with you. I like that. That 2-1 is just such an attractive number for a guy that's not playing good golf at all right now. For my last one, Scott, I'm going to go back to the M bucket, and I'm going to take Sungjae M over Tyrrell Hatton, buddy. Minus 104 straight up. Hatton did, like I said, he played well last week, his first COVID tournament, but
two weeks ago. But yeah,
2 weeks ago. Sorry, I skipped last week. M had 3 top 10s in a row before missing the cut. Then he finished 58th last week. I still like his game here. I think this is close to a toss-up. catching minus 104. Two good golfers going at it. I'll take Sungjae Im in this spot right here.
I think Im's a good golfer, but no offense, I'm kind of hoping that play turns into a bit of a loser on my half.
And I know you love Terrell Hatton. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. This was I wanted to come up with 3 matchups, and this was my third one. This was a struggle to find the one that I really liked. This is as close as it got. Probably my least favorite of my 3, just because I'm fading a better golfer. That's to me. Matsuyama has had his struggles. Jason Day we talked about. I think I'm fading. I'm taking 2 good golfers here and fading a good golfer that certainly has a chance to win the tournament. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, day 1, lot can happen. Give me Im over Hatton minus 104.
Okay.
You got one to finish up?
That's for the tournament. Or that's for the first round.
First round.
Okay.
First round.
So my third prop is going to be on a player that you mentioned on your outrights. It's going to be Doc Redmond to finish top 30, and that's available at plus 125 on DraftKings. Simply put, I think that line's too high. Redmond came in second in this tournament last year at 19 under. He knows the course a lot more than most of the field, and he performed really well here. And, he's been playing really well lately. So from that perspective, he has the hot hand, so to speak, and he has the course familiarity. Plus 125 from the top 30. I've been trying to bet a lot of these top 30s. I had Answer last week. He finished 11th, I believe, so he performed really well. I think Redmond should finish around the top 10 once again. So for that reason, I think top 30 at a plus price on this course a little bit too high. I think it should be around plus 100, maybe even minus 105, give or take. So plus 125, I'll take that to the bank.
All right, Andrews, I'm taking the good doctor at plus 200 to make the top 20.
I think that makes more sense. I was going to play it safe. To be honest, Redmond, even though he's been really good lately, he's still a bit of a youngster if you actually just look into his information. So I don't really know how consistent he is. He's looked really good for the last couple of weeks, but I don't know how sustainable his recent performance is, or if he just is clicking in some of the right areas that aren't long term. I'm going to be optimistic with his recent game because I think that he's shown signs that he could keep it as a permanent staple in his game. But in reality, I don't know. So, I'm not going to go overboard and take him to finish top 10 or top 20. You give me top 30 at a plus price. It's pretty safe, but yet you also get a good return on it. So for that reason, I'm going to take it.
Fair enough. All right. Got anything else?
That was actually it going into this video, but I'm actually going to be adding one more prop here. It's going to be a little bit bold, but I simply think the line is a little bit too low on this guy. And for that reason, I'm going to have to go towards the other guy. He's going to be in a matchup between JT Poston and Rory Sabatini. And I actually like Sabatini in this matchup for the tournament at plus 100 on Fox Bet. People talk about Poston and how he's a solid golfer. People really haven't been talking about how good Sabatini's been over the last couple of weeks, since the restart in particular. He's been great, if you want to just go through the results. So I just think he's been the hotter golfer out of the two. Plus 100, it looks like a steal to me. I think this should be a pick 'em. I think you could make the argument that this could be a potential, I'd say, bad line, because I thought Sabatini could be favored in this. But you look at recent results since the restart, Sabatini's been in 2 tournaments. He's finished 21st, and he's finished 14th. So he's been really solid, where if you look at JT Poston, his results have been worse than Sabatini since the restart. And I think that plus 100 definitely is a little bit too much value for Sabatini. You look at Poston, he's been in 3 tournaments. He finished 8th, he finished 10th, so he was pretty solid for those 2. But at the Travelers, he missed the cut. So he's coming into this off of an awful performance last week. And Sabatini also played in this tournament last year, came in 3rd.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the last time I remember seeing him on a leaderboard, by the way.
Yeah, so he has experience on this course. We mentioned it with Redmond. Instead of coming in 2nd, he came in 3rd. And he's finished top 21 the last 2 weeks. So I think plus 100 is a little bit too much value. I think he should be closer to, I'd say, minus 110, minus 105, give or take. So for that reason, plus 100, I'm going to give that out. So once again, my last prop is going to be on Sabatini over Poston at plus 100 on Fox Bet.
All right, very good. Solid. And just to recap here, I've got Sanjay M at plus 25 to 1. I have Kevin Knott 35 to 1. I have Doc Redmond at 45 to 1 as far as my matchups go. These are all day one matchups. They're on Thursday. I've got Bryson DeChambeau minus a half stroke over Hideki Matsuyama minus 120. Brendan Todd minus half stroke over Jason Day plus 110. Love that play, by the way. And Sanjay M over Terrell Hatton minus 104 straight up. Scott, what's a recap of your action?
Yeah, so my outrights are going to be Webb Simpson at 13 to 1, Terrell Hatton at 17 to 1, and Will Gordon at 125 to 1. And my props are going to be Matsuyama over Fowler in a tournament matchup at minus 125 on DraftKings, Fowler to miss the cut at plus 200 on DraftKings, Redmond top 30 at plus 125 on DraftKings, and Sabatini over Poston at plus 100 on FoxBet.
All right, there we go. Sounds like a winner, everybody. And yeah, it should be fun as we've got 4 days of golf coming up starting tomorrow. And then on tomorrow's show, we can listen to Scott bitch about why he can't watch golf in the morning. So that should be thrilling as well. We're kind of making that our weekly tradition. So
I'm trying to imagine the early bird special breakfast available at 6 a.m. at Detroit. So we're going to hopefully, they'll figure something out. I don't really know when the first tee times are going to be. I'm sure it's been announced by now. I have to assume
5:40 a.m., 5:45 a.m., by the way. I did see that Eastern time.
Nothing nicer than an early sunrise in Detroit.
Hoo-ah.
Yeah.
Hoo-ah, indeed. You been to Detroit, Scott? Been down to Greektown, seen the stadiums, any of that stuff?
Nice airport. I've stopped over there a couple times.
There you go. It's certainly the parts of Detroit that they've really worked on are really cool. Parts of Detroit that they haven't worked on, not so much. So.
You mean the Detroit Tigers?
Touche. Hey, we'll be talking about them tomorrow, Scott. What a great
segue. Yep.
Speaking of segues, baby. Scott and I will be back tomorrow. We'll be getting back to the Diamonds, and we'll be taking a look at the Central, both the American League and the National League Central. And got some interesting teams in there, and we've got some terrible teams in there. We'll be talking about all of that tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Scott, as always, appreciate you doing it with me, man. Talking a little golf. We've kind of had trial by fire. It's worth pointing out that a lot of handicappers out there, the day after they shut down the NBA, they were instant experts in Ukrainian table tennis,
cricket,
and Argentina. The soccer from where were they playing? Ecuador? Or no, not even.
Mexico was still playing for about.
Well, Mexico was still playing, but we never put that out there, and we are never going to say that we paid as much attention to NASCAR and to golf. I know you were a UFC guy. I was not. And so a lot of this has been a pretty steep learning curve. We're never going to say that we knew as much about those sports as we did about the big three or the big four. Would that be fair to say going into this?
Yeah. It's actually funny you mentioned NASCAR. I was actually rewatching the Daytona 500 from 2005 yesterday. That was right on TV. Jeff Gordon got the W, so good for Gordon. I used to be a huge NASCAR guy. And they added a bunch of stages. Jimmy Johnson won every year.
Right.
I got kind of bored of it, if I'm being honest. But, definitely got a new or renewed, I should say, interest in the sport. And it's been profitable, so I can't really complain about it. But in terms of soccer and Korean baseball, soccer I've dabbled with in the past. So I can't say it's worked out too well over the last couple of videos, if I'm being honest, in terms of picks. But I still follow soccer, so that's not really that foreign of a concept to me. Korean baseball, I can't say I've ever placed a bet on. I know that a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people have been asking for Korean baseball picks. We can pursue that potentially, but at the end of the day, I never really was that interested in staying up till 5 a.m. to watching any baseball games. I've done it just based on my awful sleep schedule, but I can't say that I really at any point thought, you know what? I gotta slam the Dinos on the run line at minus 175 because they score 8 runs a game. I'm not interested.
No, but my point to all this is I think that we've acquitted ourselves fairly well. I think we've given out some good advice to our followers, to our viewers. I know, we're certainly going to be living off our NASCAR weekend for a while. We'll be talking about that, but that was we've had some solid golf plays. Definitely made our players some money in UFC.
Mhm.
So, I think we've done okay. And we're going to take a spin on the links and see what happens this weekend.
Well,
So,
no offense, even though we have done quite well, I still miss the major sports. So.
exactly. And I think that was kind of the point I was coming around to, is we're going to, as well as we've done, as much fun as we've had doing with some of the off-brand sports, if you will. We would certainly love to have sports back this season, as far as the big three and even the big four goes. So, keeping our fingers crossed, buddy. That's all we can do at this point. So, but we'll be back tomorrow to make believe that the Major League's going to start off no problem. We're plowing ahead until we hear differently. So we'll be taking a look at the Central tomorrow. Scott, any parting words?
Not really. Looking forward to some golf tomorrow. I'm not going to be watching anything before, I'd say, noon, because I don't know what kind of animal would wake up at 5:45 in the morning just to watch golf for round one. But, those people exist. So,
yeah.
Can you imagine it in Vegas, though? You have golf tournaments starting at 3 in the morning?
3 in the morning, man. You're still up.
Sounds like tennis.
You just got off the dice table. You had a little had a little bacon and eggs there at 3 o'clock or so. Time to watch some golf, baby. Welcome to Vegas.
Well, that's one thing you know about the tables in Vegas. The open bar tends to always be open. So, you might be able to grab a drink and watch some tee shots. So
good times. All right. And as always, everybody, we appreciate you guys stopping by to watch us. Don't forget to stop by winnersandwhiners.com. Check them out for all the great content that they're writing. Not just golf, but, baseball, football. Starting to put the previews out there. The material's starting to come in. Always valuable stuff. So make sure you check out winnersandwhiners.com. Our sister site over there at statsalt.com as well. For myself, Scott Steen, and for Scott Reichel over there on the East Coast, we appreciate everybody stopping by today and watching. Don't forget to drop us a comment. Let us know what you're playing. Let us know if you got any thoughts on the golf or anything else that's going on in today's wacky world of sports. All right. So until tomorrow, you guys take care. Have a great day. Stay safe, everybody. And we'll fire it up. We'll do it all again tomorrow. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.